of Assisi said, that which you are looking for in your connection with the infinite is that which is looking right through your eyes in this very moment. It's God experiencing God's self in every moment. So there's nothing to attain and nothing to get rid of. It's just to truly inquire into who you are. Who are you? In that inquiry, you begin to understand and see who you actually are. And there is only God happening here as us. This is the great one conscious being having a human experience called Sunny. And it's a joyful recognition. And that's all that what you would call enlightenment is simply the moment to moment recognition of the truth of what's actually going on here. So I wanted to talk just a moment about lovers, like your beloved and yourself, and the love between you and your beloved and yourself. As long as there's a you and there's someone other than you that you're in love with, then it's two egos in relationship with each other. But when you have the true vision or recognition of the truth of what's actually going on here, you'll notice that it's God loving God's self, and that there is no you or other in there, that it's actually the Great One delighting in itself in the appearance of two. Then your love communion with each other becomes God communion. Then when you're making love with your beloved, it's God making love with God's self. And there's no you in there. And there's no other. So then there's just God making love with and delighting in God's self, giving pleasure to God's self. And then it is not ego bound, but it is God communion. So the only difference between sacred relationship and mundane egoic relationship is the recognition of your divine nature, and therefore the recognition that there is only God playing with God's self here. That takes all of the sense of you and other out of the equation and puts you into a state of God communion. So even the most ordinary thing like eating an apple is God communion if you recognize that the apple is a manifestation of the divine being and that you are a manifestation of God eating God's self. So there is all forms or its form, and its whole play here is its enjoyment of itself. It's not about a struggle. It's about God enjoying and delighting in God's self. That's what this earthly existence is about. It has nothing to do with making a living. It has to do with living. And it has nothing to do with acquiring things. It's simply the Great One delighting in all of its possible manifestations of itself. So in that state, there's no sense of doership. Like I built that over there, or I did this over here. Even I had these great thoughts today. It's not about the I doing or having anything. It's about the Great One playing with itself through this body, mind, physical instrument. Like, as I'm building something, I am the consciousness that is watching these hands create something. There is no sense of doership in there at all. I am the witness to the creation process. But there's no little subjective ego me in there who's the doer of all these deeds. It is me, the observer, the observing consciousness that is observing these deeds being done, but there is no doer of the deeds. Thoughts come and go. They're registered in this sensitive instrument called the brain, is a receiver unit for thoughts that come from the universal mind, which is contains all possible thoughts from one extreme opposite to the other. And what you resonate with is what you receive. And there is no thinker of the thoughts. There are just thoughts coming and going. And you can report, oh, I just had this most wonderful thought pass through, and report it. But you are not responsible for the creation of it. You can't create one single thought. As I'm speaking, I have absolutely no idea what the next thought is going to be expressed through this mouth until it arrives. And where does it come from? It comes from the universal mind of God.